Lululemon's new drop of daily essentials feels like a deep breath of fresh air. Breezily is a collection of drapey pants, shorts, and tanks designed to mix and match with your wardrobe as the weather warms up. It's all made in our lightweight, stretchy Swift fabric. Throw on these everyday staples after practice and bring an airy feel to your daily moves. Shop the Breezily collection now at lululemon.com.
With us again is Andrew Yang, could I call you a futurist? Do we accept this title?
You know, I used to joke, Ethan, that people call me a futurist, but I'm actually a presentist because it's all going on right now. And I was contrasting myself with other political figures who seem stuck in the past. It's like everyone's arguing for some version of the past. But if people call me a futurist, I mean, it sounds cool. It makes me sound with it and forward thinking. So, I mean, I'll take it.
That is a good point, though. I mean, the ideas that you were speaking about only, a year or two ago before COVID is already here now. UBI was your kind of main platform. And once COVID hit, this whole UBI discussion came forefront. Like, all of a sudden, this isn't such a bad idea.
Yeah, a majority of Americans now support universal basic income. That just came out this week. And something like 76% of Americans favor cash relief during the pandemic, which is, as you can tell, a very close cousin to universal basic income. And we're getting a ton of economic data right now that's showing that the money we're putting into people's hands has been enormously positive for the economy, for those individuals and families, for people's ability to continue to spend money in their local communities. So it's been like a large-scale kind of involuntary UBI trial, but I'm happy to say that it seems like now it's mainstream wisdom, and the majority of the American people support it. I just wish it didn't have to be under these circumstances. But thank you all, because you were ahead of the curve. Pre-pandemic, you were like, hey, This is actually a good idea. And then now we all look like geniuses because everyone's like, we should totally freaking do this.
No, the timing was crazy because once the pandemic hit and everyone started talking about cash relief, like your name started trending on Twitter because everyone was like, dude, Andrew has been talking about this right before it happened. The timing was unbelievable. But what the government has done, like you said, is cash relief. It's not really UBI, whereas a lot of other countries have gone beyond and just said, during this crisis, we're going to give you cash every month. Our government has stopped short of that. They gave one time $1,200. Is that enough, in your opinion, to really help people get by?
Well, it's better than nothing, but it should have been recurring. They should have done that sort of thing every month for virtually everybody. I just want to say how happy I was to see you and Gila with your help economic relief, where you're just giving folks $500, which is an enormous difference maker. I know, because we've been doing something similar, but our government should have been doing that kind of thing from day one for virtually all of us. And the thing that made me there are a lot of things that made me very angry about our approach, but we're using the IRS as a tool to get people these checks, and that was the right move under the circumstances, but it still misses a ton of people because there are a lot of people that are not filing tax returns that don't make enough money in many cases. And when we were trying to get money to people, we were just doing what ordinary people would do, which was like Venmoing or Cash Apping or PayPal. I mean, that's how you and I send money to each other. When we send each other money every night, which, not to say, you know what I mean? But like if individuals are trying to send money to each other, like you can just do it. So that's what my org has been doing. Our government, how can our government not use an app that like millions of us used?
But do you find so?
It's like if they wanted to get money to us, like they could get money to us.
I wonder, do they? It almost seems like too unofficial, the government sending money to people through like Venmo or something. Do they make their own proprietary thing? Like, how do they do that really? It just seems odd for the government to send $1 trillion over Venmo.
It would have been awesome, though.
I mean, it
and
would have been
totally would have
awesome. I
worked.
agree. Is that
It would
a
have been
feasible?
like, go here
Is that a
to
realistic?
Venmo.gov. Actually, I should say cashapp.gov because I'm better friends with Jack.
Oh, I didn't know.
Cashapp.gov.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's funny they joke about how unofficial it seems, but that is the kind of move that I wish we'd made. And at this point, the vast majority of Americans know we need to do a lot more for people. I'm friends with a guy who has essentially a dashboard to the financial pictures of over 2 million American temp, gig, and contract workers. And so he's seeing their financial fortunes rise and fall in real time. And he said that like their jobs started to evaporate in March, but a lot of them kept getting money from the unemployment benefits. And that was like the big lifeline for a lot of these folks. And then he saw those benefits end in July, and then all of a sudden stuff just starts heading down. He also said that the temp and gig opportunities have gone down by 60%
Wow.
writ large. So a lot of these people don't have jobs to seek out. And they had money, and now they're not having money. And so he's seeing it all evaporate in August. So we should be doing more of what we did in April, where we just sent people money. We should be doing it to virtually everyone every month. To your point too, Ethan, because they're doing a lot of those sorts of things in other parts of the world.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're in this situation. I don't know how people are going to continue to get by because, like you said, the benefits basically just stopped, right? Where if you're unemployed, people were getting an extra $600 on top of their unemployment. And I know for a lot of people, they said, this is huge. This is helping me a lot. That's ran out now, right? And so I genuinely am and then at the same time you have in a lot of places the eviction moratorium expiring, and I feel like we're kind of on the verge of a cliff that we're about to fall off of. I mean, and in the meantime, the Congress isn't pushing any new relief bills, or they're incapable of coming to some kind of compromise. I mean, it just seems like we're right on the blade's edge right now.
The fact that my friend with this company and he has his real-time dashboard, yeah, like you can see people's way of life deteriorating and disintegrating in front of you. Something like 30% of Americans had trouble meeting housing payments last month. And so if you have an eviction moratorium and people's unemployment benefits start to dry up, you're going to see mass evictions, and folks are going to be in unthinkable situations pretty quickly. It really does make me very angry that our Congress isn't doing the obvious. It's just showing how dysfunctional the government is at this point.
I mean,
it's why I ran for president, and now I'm shifting gears because you have to do whatever you can to solve the problem. So now I shifted gears to giving money to folks like you've been doing. Thank you to everyone who donated.
Yeah.
And pushing for other solutions. I'm trying to get Trump out because I think that none of these problems are going to get addressed meaningfully unless we have a different set of leaders. But that nothing I just said should stop members of Congress right now from doing what the vast majority of Americans want to see in the form of cash relief. Again, it's like if 76% of Americans are for something, why is it so hard for our members of Congress just to come together and say, well, let's just do what everyone wants, and it's obvious, and economists say it's the right thing to do?
Well, it was just baffling that they went on vacation. Congress just bounced. They went on vacation without a deal. And I mean, it's like just losing faith in the entire system of our government. I was shocked that they just I find it so ironic that they're sitting on a cushy salary. They've got health insurance. They've got pension. They've got all these things that normal Americans would like to see from their jobs. And for them, it's so easy to just walk away and take a vacation while the country is burning. I mean, it's crazy that they can even do that.
Well, they're in their districts right now, and hopefully they're hearing the same thing. They're hearing everyone say, yo, get back there and fucking pass a stimulus bill or a recovery bill.
Connection.
Yeah, I bet they're hearing that every day, all the time. I hope they are. Certainly, I've been pushing in any way I can, and hopefully reason will prevail. I just hope it doesn't require something disastrous for a reason to prevail over there.
Well, they say about Americans, I think Churchill said this, you can count on America to always do the right thing once they've exhausted every other option.
Yes. So right now they're going to exhaust the people somehow survive on nothing option, and then when they realize that doesn't that doesn't work. The tough part is, so let's say that I was an awesome, spirited person, and I ran for Congress, and then I won, and then I show up. It's like you show up, and there's like all this entire giant hierarchy that's been built up, and then there are like a couple of deal makers in your party. And you're like, hey, I would like to make a deal, but I don't have control over my caucus. And then we have a few lead negotiators, and the other party has lead negotiators. In this case, it was Mitch McConnell trying to rally the Republican senators and see if they can reconcile it with Nancy Pelosi's House bill that was passed by the Democrats. And you go back to your district, and everyone's yelling at you, and you're like, man, I can't get this thing done. I mean, part of the problem is that you have these two sides in Congress that they can go home without a deal, and then blame the other side and say, well, it was their fault. They didn't close the gap.
There's been a lot of talk I've seen of a 4-day work week. That seems to be something that you've been focusing a lot on lately. I'll tell you from my experience, when I was working a desk job in Israel, I worked a normal office job 5 days a week, the whole 9 to 5, 9 to 6. And that whole time I was like, dude, I could do this in 4 days easily. I mean, when you're sitting at a desk, you waste so much time. And I always thought that idea was brilliant because it's got to do wonders for morale, right? I mean, have you been reading studies and literature about that?
Yeah, the data is tremendous around a 4-day work week. And it's also common sense because work kind of expands to fit into whatever time you have. You know what I mean? Like if I give you a bunch of stuff to do and be like, you've got 5 days, it's going to take you 5 days.
Right.
If I say you've got this much to do and you have 4 days, it's only going to take you 4 days.
Well, especially with the promise of an extra, week.
It's motivating.
Yeah.
In Israel, we only have 1 day weekend. So, it's funny? When I moved here, I was like, this is like a dream. I love the long weekend. But I started to feel like, God, I wish I had one more day. And I started to feel guilty about that. And like, I really can't get enough. Can I
Wait, tell me more. So Israel, just as a 1 day weekend, which I'm guessing is Saturday.
Yeah. So brutal. Sunday is the first day of the week. It's not Monday. So
that is wild. How I consider myself a fairly worldly, cosmopolitan person, and I did not know that.
Yeah. School is Sunday through Friday, and
These
you only
kids,
have Saturday off.
They go to school 6 days a week. Can you imagine that hell?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say something. Please don't judge me. I went to a prep school that had classes on Saturdays, so I actually had
my God, you can't imagine that
school week, and so I can imagine it, and it was not pretty. That's for sure.
That's horrible. Yeah.
But
so
I just read about it only recently because you've been talking about it, and I find the whole idea so interesting, and I think I want to read more about it and learn what it really means, because we actually have a business and we have maybe 20 employees, so we could decide to go that route for everyone. But I would have to know what exactly it would mean.
Yeah, you should look into it for sure, and then maybe even run a trial. Because in your case, you'd run a trial. But the data is very positive, where it says that productivity either stays the same or goes up, in the sense you get the same amount of work done. And then there are reduced stress levels, increased morale. The people use that extra day off in a way that they find restorative and productive in a personal way. And so it's upside on the personal side, and on the business side, the productivity side. There's really no loss, and in some cases there are positives.
Right.
So and to me, society-wide too, America in particular, and you guys have a very distinct job, if I do say so, but but America generally has this workaholism problem, or one person called it workism, which is probably maybe a better name. where Keynes projected decades ago said we'll be down to a 15-hour work week because we'll be so rich. And it turns out his estimates of the top line were right. Like we are as rich as he said we were going to be. But our work week are actually migrating longer, not shorter, because of the nature of corporate culture and the economy, where it's like you have to be always on and available, and the work kind of creeps. And that is what's happening right now. And it's driving health problems, stress problems, relationship problems. There are a lot of signs already that the American work culture is kind of morphed into something not terribly healthy. And so I think a 4-day work week would be a massive improvement for many, many corporate cultures. And I got to say, like a lot of the times you're there, like you're not doing shit.
No.
Like, probably like one day a week, you're just like, I didn't do shit today. you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So if you have...
I probably was spending 30 hours a week on Reddit. I've gone to pages of Reddit that men have never even known. I've been to thousands of pages back, unknown pages of Reddit. That was my job.
Yeah. When you were in Israel, you were like, someday I'm going to be a massive internet creator, and I'm going to spend my time mining like the deepest depths of the internet in preparation.
Yeah, exactly. It was prep. In Finland, the prime minister had called for employers to allow employees to work not only 4 days, but 6 hours a day. So they are taking it to the next level.
That's some next level stuff. I might not go to that extreme, but I like where their heads are at.
Right.
Can we just not work?
Yeah. In Finland, they're saying no work. But I'll tell you what, because as business owners, we're always thinking about like morale, and you want to retain you want to retain the talent and make sure that they're happy and satisfied working there. So I'll tell you what, on a 4-day work week, I don't think anyone's going to leave your company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds
your
exciting.
morale and retention would be very, very high. I'm sure your staff that are listening to this are like subtly nodding, being like, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that for you, Dan and Ian and Zach, because we have a production schedule. What can I do? I can't give you you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry.
I used to work in movies. This is easy by comparison.
There you go. That's
so you don't work us like 14 hours days regularly.
Well, and this is as someone, because I've also run startups, and most of the startups I ran, we worked our asses off. You know what I mean? So like, so there isn't like there isn't something against hard work. I mean, I love working hard. That was one of the funny things about running for president on universal basic income, where people are like, well, what about work? And then, like, depending upon my mood, I would respond in different ways. But sometimes I'd be glib and be like, I'm Asian, I love work. and people would then, back off a little bit. But
but that is one of the fallacies, right, about the UBI. People say, oh, you're just not going to work. But I feel like that's such a misunderstanding of the human condition. I mean, nobody just wants to have no purpose in life. I mean,
Right.
that's outrageous.
Well, this is the thing that like, like makes you laugh. Is like they'll say two things simultaneously. One, work is the most important element of human life, and without it, we are lost. And two, no one will want to do it if you give them a little bit of money.
Great, yeah, great
those
point.
two things don't really come together. It's like, if it's so crucial, then wouldn't we do it anyway? Maybe slightly broadly defined.
That's a great point.
I feel like also the beautiful thing about UBI is that it goes to everyone at any different position that they are in life. So you could be having a crisis. You could be having a mental thing that doesn't allow you to work right now. You could be having a physical injury that you can't work right now, even if you want to. So it reaches everyone at different places in their life.
Of course, yeah.
It's funny that you're just thinking about this one situation where you're healthy and you do want to work, but like you're not gonna work because you have money.
Because you're getting $1,000 a month, yeah.
Yeah. What if you have an ailing loved one? What if you have a young child or something?
Or mental illness,
or
like right now we have this incredible
pandemic.
or we have or you're in a pandemic. we have this homelessness problem that's just kind of crushing LA right now. And if you gave each homeless person, if there was that bottom, social safety net, I think you would see a lot less, almost probably to zero in terms of homelessness.
Now, if you had that level of resources, you could reduce homelessness very, very dramatically. The issue it would be the transition, because some of the people that are homeless right now have mental health problems or drug addiction problems, and then may not even have a bank account where it's like, I'm trying to send you the money, like what's going on. But over time, if you knew that everyone had this money that they were entitled to, then you would reduce homelessness pretty quickly, because then it would just look around and be like, wait a minute, like what's going on? This person has got like $1,000 a year in value. Like, I just need to freaking make sure that it's actually working for them in a way. And if, to the extent that people aren't in a position where it would work for them because of their own volition, like it'd actually be pretty straightforward to like help it work for them, where you'd have like an organization being like, for every homeless person I like bring into the shelter, like we're gonna get thousands of dollars. So like let's go get that done. I mean, it is funny how market driven everything is in the US, but if you give everyone intrinsic value, then all of a sudden like the market value starts kicking in for people.
The other kind of nice thing I like about the 4-day week is something I always thought about when I was working in my desk job. It's like you pointed out this kind of workaholicness. I think it's kind of, in Israel, it's the same, In a lot of developed countries or around the world, I think people just have this overwhelming pressure, social pressure, to show how much they care about their job by working unreasonable hours. It's like in Europe, I was always blown away by the fact that people get like an entire month off, And there's
August, freaking everyone disappears.
I mean, that to me is unfathomable. That and then the thing that blew my mind is when you learned that like Chinese New Year, even in China, these people are getting a month off. You don't see that. Or 2 months off, even in
no.
month off. In America, we don't have that.
A little less than a month.
We don't have that.
They travel back to their hometowns in many cases. I think it's less than a month, but it's significant.
Yeah.
Though their work week, I think, is like the Israeli model of 6 days.
Oh, really? Wow. So they work hard. But the thing is, in Israel, too, you don't have that. Well, you get holidays, but not like a designated time off. And so to me, it's like we as human beings need to be defined by more than just our jobs.
Now, I think a 4-day work week would be a massive value add in the United States, but I think that you wouldn't make it one size fits all for every organization, because I've been parts of some organizations where you probably want to have like a longer work schedule, and there are certain types of roles and where it makes sense. But I think as a default setting where like the expectation is you have a 4-day work week, I think it would be an incredible improvement, in large part because of what you just said, Ethan, which is like, what is the purpose of life? Is it our job, or is it something bigger that integrates a job, includes a job, but it's not like exclusively a job? So the 4-day work week is something that to me would actually make work like an appropriate part of our lives,
right?
In a way that right now we have to be honest that it's just creeping upwards. Like it's going like from 5+ into like that zone. And I'm a data guy, and there are very, very clear signs that right now it's having a damaging effect on our health, mental health, stress levels, relationships, family formation. And all of that stuff was pre-pandemic. In the pandemic, we just have to do anything we can to give people like a real sense of well-being, and even folks who are doing well, quote unquote, like relatively speaking during this time, are not exactly like necessarily mentally doing well. There's just a lot of there's a lot of stress right now that I think if you had a couple of days a week or 3 days a week where you were genuinely disengaged from work, it would be like enormously helpful for so many of us.
Do you see yourself doing that?
You know, it's funny. It's like it certainly sounded like I was talking about myself just then. I mean, for me, I'm in a similar boat to you, I think, where, you know, we're in a situation where we're just trying to do positive things and help people. Like, I'm very busy right now. You know, I just spoke at the DNC last night, and then I went and talked about my speaking at the DNC later in the night. You know, we're distributing economic relief like you. We're working on this data project where we're trying to get people paid for their data. I'm helping these down and ballot candidates who are running on universal basic income because we got to try and make it happen for folks. So I'm campaigning for them all the time. I'm campaigning for Joe and Kamala against Trump. So I'm busier than ever, and it's cool in the sense that, like, the world is on fire, and I feel like thanks to you and some other folks who believed in me, like I feel like I've got something of a fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
the world's on
right.
fire, and I got a fire extinguisher.
That's great.
So like I better fucking try and put the fire out, because you know it's like not everyone has a fire extinguisher. It's just like you guys, where you looked up too. You were like, wow, there's a lot of freaking need and suffering right now, and like I can help. So you tried to help. Like I'm in the same boat you are, where this is a time for me to like not worry too much about, you know, like, you know, my own like balance.
I mean, right. I think it's different for entrepreneurs or people who manage. I mean, obviously, it's important, but for people who don't have much of a choice in the matter, you know, who are expected to do things, you know, when you were running for president, you made it super far. What were you, like the 5th candidate?
Around there, yeah, something like that.
You don't remember the exact number?
Well, there were different kinds of polls.
No, we could go. No, yeah, there were different levels of stuff. So I'm thinking about the people that were.
You were
like I might have been 6th.
I like 5. Let's say 5.
Top 5. Let's do it. Why not?
But I mean, I was Yang Gang all the way. I still am. When you left when you dropped out of the presidential race, you endorsed Joe Biden, and you got a lot of shit for that. And I was fascinated by
I do remember that.
I mean, I was fascinated by the response of how people felt betrayed by the fact that you had endorsed Joe Biden. Well, I mean, what was that experience like for you to have some of your supporters turn on you?
You know, I spent a full day or so just responding to people, being like, "Hey, I understand why you're angry," like, because I appreciate everyone who supported me a great deal, and you know, if they disagreed with my opinion or judgment or decision at that time, I just wanted to try and explain. And in my case too, Joe called me and asked me for my endorsement, and I essentially, like, I was like, "Look, I kind of want to let this process play out," and then I endorsed him when, to me, he was going to be the nominee, and I was like, all right, like I should do what I can to unify the party,
right?
And bring us together. So I understood where people were coming from, and I tried to address it. And hopefully, over the past number of days and weeks, like, you know, more people have come to understand like the situation we're in, and you know, like hopefully they're going to support Joe, because to me it's Joe or Trump. And but I get it, because I was a Berner. I like Bernie a lot, and Bernie was right about so much. And so if someone was like, "Fuck you, Yang," like, you know, like you like endorsed the wrong guy, I'd be like, I totally get it, because like I love Bernie too, and like, you know,
at that point he had pretty much had no chance of winning.
It was
I am the math guy. I saw the math, and I was like, this is not going to happen, because like, you know, like I'll put it in, you know, actual terms. He needed to win Michigan in a significant way to have a chance, and he did not. And then I was like, this shit's over. Like, you know, because he like won Michigan last time. So like you saw, you know, like if he didn't win it this time against Joe, it was like, you know, there was no path.
Yeah.
What is it like to get a call from Joe Biden asking for your endorsement? What does he say to you?
He calls. I mean, he's Joe, so he's like, hey pal, like, you know, how are you, like, you know, like how's the family? Like, you know, we make small talk for a little bit, and then he's like, hey, could really use your support. Like we need you. So.
And you told him, let's hold on. That's pretty epic.
I will say this, and this is something that. So there are folks who are running who are politicians, and some would take that as a pejorative, and I use it as a pejorative or like a negative term myself sometimes, like politicians, you know, because I don't really consider myself much of a politician. But there is something to be said for folks who are effective at reaching out and like calling and whatnot. And Joe's one of those people. Joe's like a bridge builder and relationship builder. So you know, and I have to say, like when you get that phone call, like it does make you like more likely to want to help the person.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh shit, you know, because you're a human being, and like the human being calls you and is like, hey, you want to help? It'd be like, you know, you feel like a bit of an asshole being like, no, sorry, I can't do it. So
it's kind of amazing from like 1 or 2 years ago from where you were to getting a call from the vice president asking for your support.
And I'll say, like, you know, Joe called me more than once too, you know, so it's not even like there's like,
You have his number?
Thing
You have his cell
like
number?
So Joe's not really the texting type.
How does it go? Does the call come from like, I've got Joe, I've got the vice president on the phone for you?
In his case, it's like, I've got the vice president for you, kind of thing. Yeah, in that sense. Some of the other candidates, you know, we actually do text, like we've got each other's cell phone numbers. But Joe, you know, like Joe,
he's
and I
old
never
school.
Traded numbers. Yeah, it's like, you know, he had like the
Once
the
you've
team.
been,
But I did get it, and you're right
cool.
too that like the ascent was you know, very dramatic and rapid. Again, largely thanks to people like you and Hila who understood the problems I was trying to solve and like the approach I was taking and had like the vision. I mean, I super appreciative to both of you because you're so human, and there's something about some of the roles that we all have where. And you know, so you know, not you remember your office job in Israel and whatnot, and like you weren't being paid to be like ultra human at that time. You were being paid to like do whatever the heck the role they needed you to do for X days, and it took people like you getting behind me to get me to a point where I could make a positive difference. It's one reason I'm thrilled to be back with you all because. Yeah, it's well, you know, I mean, I just love and appreciate both of you, and feel like we're in a similar boat where you're looking around the world, just saying like, is this really where we are? And you know, like, let's try and move in a better direction.
Are we looking at a cabinet position? What's going on here?
So there's absolutely nothing has been, you know, discussed in like a hyper official level, but unofficially. In the conversations we've had, people like would love to have you on the team, would love to work with you, like things like that.
I love that.
We would love.
What do you want to be? What's your dream? What's your dream position there?
So what I've been saying to folks is that I want to try and speed us up on these technology issues, and we could, you know, I think the three of us could talk about this stuff for hours, but our government is just so out to lunch on technology issues, and so. That could be AI. That could be the selling and reselling of our data. That could be media and social media. That could be mental health issues that are attendant with smartphone adoption on the part of teenage girls. Like there are all of these issues.
Does that cabinet position even exist?
It does not.
Right. And so that seems important.
But there's an advantage there because. If they created a new role for me, then it's not like they'd be blocking anyone out because it's not like there are like 15 people being like, "Hey, I really want to be Secretary of Innovation and Technology."
Can we create a new cabinet branch?
Yes, that is something. So yeah, you can. That's the short answer.
I mean, that seems like a great place to go in perfect Yang style. Cabinet of Technology, Secretary of Technology.
Secretary of Technology and Innovation. Actually, the Washington
Yes.
Post just put that out there today. They said, "Here's the cabinet we recommend," and they said Andrew Yang, like a Secretary of Technology and Innovation that
That's
advises
awesome.
all of the other cabinet members.
That's
Oh
so
my
cool.
God, that would be amazing.
I'm lobbying for that from now on.
Can we do anything?
I actually think I think Joe could garner a lot of support by making that happen.
Do we have any input in making that happen? Like, can we do anything?
Well, if people were to, if there was a groundswell of support being like, hey, Joe, like if you signal to everyone that you're going to name Andrew the Secretary of Technology and Innovation, it would help us vote for you. They might do it because there's no reason not to really. I mean, like, again, it's not like a role that exists presently. And so, it would make him seem forward thinking. So if enough people, and this stuff, it's not that under the radar in the sense, again, the Washington Post just recommended it.
Yeah.
So, and when I've spoken to people that like me, they were like, well, this makes me more excited about Joe if they're gonna bring you on in this capacity.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, let me move on to another controversy. CNN, the ultimate betrayal. So after you dropped out, you took a position at CNN as a how is it called?
It's like a political commentator.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Which, by the way, I love seeing you on there. I'm just kidding.
I
I'm not criticizing you. But again, that was another thing where people are like, "Oh, Yang is working at CNN. It's a total betrayal." What do you say to that? What do you say to people who say that? Because a lot of people say CNN as fake news, right? So yeah, I know it's hard to say. Say CNN. So what do you say to that?
This is another thing where I kind of sympathize in the sense that when I was the mavericky outsider presidential candidate, like a lot of the media organizations, kind of marginalized me at various points. And there are some people that are very skeptical of the news media. In my case, when they asked me, said, hey, do you want to come on and talk about the debates? It was like a short-term offer and deal. And to me, it was like, initially I was like, oh, this can be something where I keep my voice out there and like hopefully try and do something positive. Particularly because the campaign ends, you're like thinking, okay, like I'm going to start an organization and do these things, but like it seemed like a way to maintain a place in the public eye. And then, and initially I was like, well, who knows how long this will go for? Maybe I don't like it. Maybe they don't like me. And then they said to me very quickly thereafter, they were like, hey, like we like you, do you want to make this like a little bit more long-standing? So I would understand, again, skepticism where people are like, hey, like, screw the media. In my case, it's like, well, I used to literally fight to try and get on these networks and be like, please, like get me on.
Now they pay you.
And then now they're like having me on and I can hopefully both push ideas that I think are important. But the other thing is that I thought it was very helpful to normalize me to more Americans. Because if you look up, we had like a Donald Trump in the White House, in part because he was in everyone's living rooms for years. It's like, you're fired, and like this apprentice nonsense. And then people were like, oh, he's like the boss, like, and then sort of like life imitating reality where it's like, we should make that guy president. So like I started out as such the outsider figure that I thought that if I could become more familiar to more Americans, where it's like, oh, I trust that guy, he's like, and then for some people that are like listening to this being like, I would never trust anyone on that. But, there are many Americans who would trust someone more if they were on their TV set consistently for a period of time.
I love it whenever I see you there. It brings a smile on my face. Because usually,
thanks you. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, me too.
Usually it's like so depressing having this stuff on,
All the
and
talking heads.
I don't know. It's just it feels so repetitive, and you know what they're gonna say, but you always have this freshness about you, and you just talk simply, and it makes sense, and you got good ideas. So.
Well, thanks, Hila. That means a lot.
Yeah, I agree
It's
totally.
So it's been an interesting experience for me because like I had never really done that kind of media pre my presidential run. But I'm glad that you find my presence uplifting and that I say something reasonably.
I think you make a really good
perceptive.
point,
Makes me
though,
happy.
because it's like if you think CNN is fake news and full of all this crap, why don't we get someone on there who, you know, can bring a dose of reality and realism to it, right? So
Right.
maybe because they don't. Do they give you notes? Or they're like, "Yo, here's our talking points. We got to stick to this." Like, is there any kind of shadowy behind the scenes shit going on?
There has not been where I'm concerned. You
Yeah.
know, they just stick a mic in my face and being like, Andrew, what did you think just happened? And then I like say something, and then like
No
I've
memos.
I've gotten zero direction and zero feedback. There has never been any like, hey Yang, like settle
Right.
that shit down, or like. Or like you said Tulsi Gabbard's name, or like there's been zero of that. It's been always like you're clear, get lost. so that's also something. It's like it's felt positive. Where just this week at the DNC or whatever, I thought like AOC had been miscast, frankly, like and underutilized, and then getting the chance to say that on CNN, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm really excited. I can actually point out something I think is like a real problem with what, with the decision that was made. So I've hopefully people like still feel like it's me, I guess, like that I haven't become some.
Definitely, I can say as a supporter. I mean, that yeah, it's Yang on TV. How's that? Is that a good job? They pay you all right?
It's not it's no Teddy Fresh, but but I mean they do pay me every month, and
How does it work? Do you just on call from a certain? I've always wondered how those jobs work because they have shows, they have different like commentators, and then they bring in the people to do the co-commentary. So are you on call a certain hours a day, and then they zap you in? How does that work?
Yeah, I never knew how it worked either, and I'm still not sure if this is how it works for everyone. But I'll tell you how it works for me. So they say, hey, just be available, and then I'll get a ping from someone, typically at least 24 hours in advance, saying like this show would like to have you on to talk about something that happened or something in my wheelhouse. And then the other thing that will happen was they'll be like, hey, there's this occasion, let's call it the Democratic National Convention, where we want you on every night from this to this. So those are like the two types of contexts I get.
So do they pay you a retainer, or do you get paid more the more airtime you get?
I get a retainer. So like it's the expectation is just that, if they ask me to do something that I'll be reasonably available. But if I say like, hey,
yeah, that seems like a good job.
I'm just not free that day, then they'll be like, all right, let's go away. It's like,
wow, that's awesome. So
really
cool. That's how it works for
congratulations.
me.
I
I
mean,
can't say it works
congratulations
really
on the
good.
job. I think it's great,
Yeah.
and I'm happy you're doing it. USPS. Why should we burn USPS to the ground, Andrew? Tell me, what should we do about USPS? Do we destroy it? Do we dismantle it? It's not profitable.
I mean, that's really the summary, Ethan. It's like in American life, it doesn't make money, kill it. If you don't make money, you're an infant, die. It's like whatever the heck the problem is. I mean, that's pretty much where we've gotten to in American life now, where like we're trying to turn everything into an economic instrument, and if like it's not profitable, then it should stop existing. So the post office, I will say, I think that. The attack on the post office stuff, like I don't think it's going to impact the fundamental operations of the post office, but it is true that we need to fund the post office to a higher degree and just accept that. Look, it could be that mail does not make money on an annual basis. And there are tons of things that we do that make our post office less competitive anyway. It's like expecting it to make money and then keeping it from doing things that could make money is just so dumb. And I don't know if Israel's really smart, so you probably already do this, but like in a lot of countries, they give the post office other shit to do. You know, it's like you can do like basic banking services from the post office. Like there are things you can do. Here in the US, it'd be like, well, you can't do that because it would compete with like the check cashers or whatever, like these private firms that do various, like you can do a lot of routine stuff in post offices around the world. In the US, like there are real restrictions on all of that stuff.
That's true. I think you can do some stuff. I can't remember right now.
I think you can have a checking account. You can convert money,
Right.
stuff like that. But look, it's in the name. It says postal service. It's a service.
Yeah, it's literally just something that's supposed to be provided to us. And I saw something that was really interesting where we invested a ton in the post office early on just to connect communities. You know, like that where literally you had these frontier settlements,
right?
And you had to like have some dude on a horse and like a sack of mail, like getting them their mail. Like there were massive investments just to try and connect people, and that connectivity helped lead to trillions of dollars in economic development over time. And then at some point we turned on it. We're like, you got to make money like every day. You know, it's just like it's like an investment in civilization,
right? And I mean, if you deliver a letter to the middle of like some super remote location in Nebraska, I mean, there's no way that will ever be profitable, you know. But we do it to keep our country modern and connected. It's like you said, civilization.
And that post office in Nebraska is a freaking hub for that town, you know, like that, like they literally go in, and it's one reason why I think having different purposes for the post office could be so important. There's another informal gathering space that I think could be key in a lot of communities, and that's the town library. And it's like, how the hell do town libraries, you know, quote unquote, make money? It's like you go in there and they're like freaking charging you an arm and a leg for like borrowing that children's book. But one of the things that the town library could do is to try and replace some of the 1,000+ local newspapers that have gone out of business in the United States because all the content got digitized and you can't make money off of classified ads anymore because it all went to Craigslist. And so what happens is you get rid of the local paper in a town, which is terrible and it's bad for democracy. And like, how can you vote on what's going on in your town if literally no one's even covering what's going on in your town? It's very important for identity to have some kind of local publication. But in towns where the local paper got eliminated, what happened was the town library often ended up putting up like a bulletin board or like a community board that becomes the de facto what is going on in my town situation. So you can imagine like a revved up version of a town bulletin board coming out of town libraries. Like there are things we need to invest in a lot of these communities that are getting decimated right now because they don't make money.
Well, that's sad, and I think it's something we really need to kind of change in how we view a lot of things, that not everything's going to make money. I mean, geez, how do we convince ourselves that this was the right way to evaluate things? I mean, it's wild. I mean,
it's been like a massive conditioning of American culture
what does
over
it
the
say,
last 40 years.
What does it say about human beings as workers? You know, if you can't look at anything and not see its value if it doesn't make money, what does it say about human beings?
Well, this is what I was running on before, was that I knew that we'd been conditioned to think that we all needed to be economically productive. And then I said, you know what, technology is going to surpass our productivity in a lot of these arenas pretty quick. And if we don't start evaluating ourselves in a different way, then it's going to lead to disaster. And now we're seeing some version of it with the pandemic. And so I think universal basic income would very quickly disentangle this confusion, the mixing of economic value and human value. Because if you all just start getting money for breathing, for living, for existing, then you can start to feel like, okay, we all have some worth that's independent of how much money I'm making at any moment in time. And then that alone would humanize your perspective really quickly.
Do you, I know you've already endorsed Joe Biden, but is there any chance we can get you to vote for Kanye 2020 vision?
Oh, I'll tell you guys a story because it's fun. But like, a mutual friend actually connected me with Kanye on the cell phone, and so like, he was just like, "Hey, wanted to connect you with Kanye because he wanted me to talk to Kanye about his run, because I ran for president. And it's like if anyone was going to tell Kanye what the presidential deal was, so then Kanye called me. I missed the call, and I played phone tag with Kanye, and I got like a text message from him, and then, and I was like, okay, like if he wants to connect, it'd be all good. And we have some mutual friends, that, obviously like the friend that put us in touch was one, and then I have others too. So Kanye's a creative genius, and like I'm definitely not going to be voting for him, but like I have a lot of
That's interesting. You guys never connected. I wish you guys connected. I'd love to hear that.
You know what I should do right now is I should fucking call Kanye while we're on this RS.
Call him.
Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I missed each
He
other's
would
calls.
appreciate that.
I mean, like, and then try to get him on FaceTime.
Would you mind giving his phone number to Ian? Ian, our employee, is a huge Kanye fan. Ian, is there anything you want?
Don't meet your idols,
Ian, is there anything you want Yang to text Kanye?
Well, let's see if I have this shit in my phone. Hang on. See if
Ask him where the album is. That's it.
Okay, it's 307. No, I'm kidding.
Steve Bannon just went to prison for the great Build the Wall. I got to say, Build the Wall, it's so funny how it quickly went from Mexico will pay for the wall to we'll pay for the wall to I'll just keep the money. There's no wall. I'll just keep the
Mexico will
money.
pay for the wall to how about you pay for the wall?
To how about you pay me?
How about I take the money and then I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of it.
I mean, it's incredible that. Were you blown away by that Build the Wall GoFundMe? Because when that came out, it was blowing my mind. I mean, it was so active. I could not believe. I saw people saying, "I just donated my entire tax refund, $3,000." And these are not rich people, right? I'm sure they could have really used that money, especially now. And like $25 million, how much wall does that get you? Like quarter mile,
I'd have to. So I did this exercise when I was trying to figure out what was going on with like the truckers and like how much it would cost to lay a highway across the country that would just accommodate robot trucks. I was trying to figure out like if you're going to save tens of billions of dollars a year, like would it just pay off just to like make a highway that's like 8 lines wide that's just for robot trucks? And I did the math, and it turns out, yeah, it actually would pay for itself if you just decided to fucking like just like lay the robot superhighway and just
wait. How much would
have
it
the
cost?
robot trucks go back and forth? It costs somewhere in like the low billions.
That's it.
So you get your money back over time.
Wait, when you say low billions, are we talking like below 500? What does that mean, low billions? What's
well? So
give me a
I was
neighborhood.
Like one.
so
two?
it was. And so I haven't done the math in a while, but I was I was trying to figure out. It was like, so the cost savings around automated trucking are tens of billions of dollars a year, but the main impediment is our infrastructure, because like we have like highway problems, and you also have this political problem that if you had a robot truck that killed someone on the highway, then people would be like, oh, like, fuck the robot trucks. So then I was like, okay, like could you make it so there was no pedestrian traffic on this highway by just making a new highway? And I was like, how expensive is it to make a new highway in the United States of America? So like I found out what like the per mile was, and then I like did like the thousands of miles.
But that's
the rest of it. So then, like, you do a similar estimate for the wall is where I was going. It was like, how much does it cost to make a wall over like how long? It's like, what kind of wall can I get for $25 million?
Not much of a wall, eh?
I mean, I'd love to see what and the thing. I mean, all of its averages, because like there's certain parts where you could get a lot of wall for that much money, because like the terrain's really nice, and then other places you could be like, I can't build a fucking wall here. Like you'd have to find like the most opportune place. And anyway,
Well, it is fantastic. I think that they ended up just I mean, they didn't really pocket the money, but they like bought a boat. They actually, well, Steve Bannon got charged for laundering money and wire fraud. So they were like, we're laundering the money. They were funneling it, and like the guy who set up the foundation bought a boat. It was fucking awesome. Like,
there's always a boat involved.
yeah, there's always a boat involved. That's the cardinal rule, isn't it? Oh, so
yeah,
funny.
it's like I did something illicit if I just turn up and be like, hey, you gotta come see the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
And it always has some name that's somehow related to some shady way I made the money. Being like,
Steve Bannon got arrested on a boat even.
Oh, he was on the boat when he was arrested.
It wasn't his own boat. He was on. It was actually a weird twist to the story. He was on some Chinese billionaire's boat, and they boarded the boat and arrested him out on the high seas. It was like an interception.
What the heck?
Yeah, very crazy.
That's wild.
That sounds like a movie scene. It'd be
Yeah, it
awesome. There
does.
could
Totally.
be like Chris Hemsworth like comes down to like the. They should have sent Chris Hemsworth to arrest him. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I see a true documentary coming out about this called "Build the Wall" or something about like the high crime documentary. Andrew, if you get this cabinet position, which we're all hoping for, tell me what are the first things that you think, like, you're sitting down in America, you're part of the president's cabinet. What do we need to do first? What is the most pressing things we need to address in this country, America?
I mean, clearly it's cash relief and universal basic income. It's like that's just like the simple thing. It sounds, that's to me the single best thing we could do for people.
So let's say
you say something technology related, then I'd actually choose something related, which is what we talked about earlier around the fact that we didn't actually have a system set up to get people money. So we use the IRS check distribution system. And I think it's bad for our confidence in our government that it sucks so bad at a lot of these things. Where like if you go to your bank's website or whatever, you just expect shit to work generally at a certain level. And then so you'd be like, well, why doesn't the government have something? So one thing I'd love to invest in would be essentially a citizen portal where if there was something like we're trying to get you money or trying to get you information or so the lamest version of this would be a citizen portal where it's essentially like here are all of these links to other fucking government websites that you can go to. Like that would be the absolute worst version. The best version would be so you know what I mean? Like one of those boards where it's like here's a freaking flurry of websites to go to. Fuck you, but no. But like the good version would be like a slick interface where like the information from, let's call it your tax returns or from the passport office or wherever the heck like could actually be compiled. Because part of the thing that makes me angry right now is that like you're hearing a lot of messages from folks all the time associated with politics, which is like, trust us, you got to trust us. And it's like, well, like you guys don't really deliver at the same level as like some of the other organizations I'm used to interacting with. So I would love to try and help the government deliver at like on a technical level, because I think it would be enormous for our confidence. So that would be something I would love to, especially if it was tied to universal basic income, because I think that there is a relationship where we need to actually know who you are, know how to get you money, have to have some kind of secure relationship with you and interface with you if we're going to try and, add value.
Don't you think the big problem is that all of our elected officials and even, Joe Biden, I mean, how old is Joe? He's like 74 or something like that? I mean...
I think he's like 76 or 77, I think. I don't want to misspeak. I should know that. I mean,
he's in his... Yeah, okay. Oh, you're looking it up?
Hang on.
Okay, let's see.
I mean, maybe one of your team can...
Yeah, look it up, Zach.
He's 77 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So loud. So don't you think that's we need young people who understand this? Like I know 77-year-old people, they're not interested in Cash App. Do you know what I mean? They understand checks. And that's not their fault. It's just the way it is. But I think like we have this tendency of electing, especially lately, old people to office. Even Donald Trump is in his 70s, right? He's like 72, 73 years old. I mean, although he's a little...
He's 74?
To be, 74.
Check that one too.
Somehow he doesn't, Trump, I guess
he's got a young energy by being such an asshole. He's got that asshole energy that you associate with.
He does a lot, I think. He does a lot with this. He does like a spray tan and the hair.
He's used to the cameras. I think he just, on camera, I think he comes off like that. Obviously, I never met him in person, but I have a feeling if you saw him in person, he would look that age to you.
I do give him credit. He has a more youthful spirit for whatever reason. And he's on Twitter. That's pretty epic. True. But that being said, I don't think Trump uses Cash App either. And so what we need is younger people. I really truly think we just need younger people, and that's one of the reasons. That was one of the reasons why I liked you, right? And one of the reasons I like AOC is that we just like AOC does Instagram Live every super frequently to talk directly with her
people.
Yeah,
she's like a digital native. I think the average age of a member of Congress is 62, to your point, Ethan. So it's not just presidential candidates.
Right.
Someone called it a gerontocracy. It's like a rule by the old. We essentially have a gerontocracy in the United States of America for a number of reasons. One of the main reasons is that after you get into Washington, you just try and stay there forever. And it's actually very hard to defeat an incumbent. So you have folks like Nancy Pelosi, I believe, is around Joe's age. And she looks great. But
she does. I agree.
But our leaders are of another generation because of the way the structure the structures are set up, and it's one reason why I'm for term limits, where you should go to DC as a term of service, get something done, and then get out, and it would help keep our legislators more current and fresh and modern. To your point, Ethan, because if you go to DC, you'll find it is not exactly a tech-friendly town. Like you go. I'll tell a story that was going to make you angry, but it'll be totally consistent with your understanding of the world. So I was on the trail, and then there was like this Asian kid. He's like mid-20s maybe, and he interned at his congressional office, and then they asked him to do something like answering messages or data related, like in the office. And he was smart, so he set up like a program to automate the process and make it so that this thing will happen more seamlessly and less labor. This will be great. And then they yelled at him for it and said no, we didn't want you to do that. Where we actually preferred the way that the other person could just understand and just sit there and just peck at it all the time. He was like, what the hell's going on? And this is a congressional office. And so he left. He now works at Facebook. He went and worked in DC for a summer, was they are freaking stuck in the Stone Age. Let me get the hell out of here. And then he pieced out to Silicon Valley. So that is the general culture in DC, where you go there and you feel like you just rewound a number of years. And if you go into some of these government agencies, it's much, much worse because some of them have been underfunded. So you have very strange patchwork technologies from past years. I might be exaggerating, but probably not by much. But Windows 2005 or whatever, you go in and they'll just be maybe stuff all over in different government organizations. So that's the government we have. And like you said before, it's not really anyone's fault. But we need to try and speed them up. And if I'm in position to try and move that in a better direction, I would take it and do everything I could.
It sounds really necessary.
Yeah, we have to do that. I mean, I think the problem is that the rate of technology has passed our people. It's been going so fast that it's past them, right? When Joe Biden was in his 40s, even 50s, 25, 26, 7 years ago, it was we were 1995. I mean, I don't even know that smartphones were popular then. I don't think. No, not even close.
They were not.
Not even close, right? So, I mean, in his own experience in government, the technology has ran around him like 30 times. So
yeah,
it's a new world.
They got rid of the Office of Technology Assessment in 1995, the year you just described.
The perfect time to get rid of it.
Yeah, they had a department that advised members of Congress on what technology issues they should care about and like the opinions. Like
why? Why did they do that?
Why did they get rid of the Office of Technology Assessment? It was like to quote unquote save money, which is like the most asinine thing in the world because the budget of the entire thing was like $25 million. It was like a fucking drop in the bucket. You just had some smart people around telling you it's like, hey, so you know where legislators get their technology guidance from now? The technology companies. And the technology companies are like, do absolutely nothing because everything is perfect. And then the legislators are like, yeah, that sounds about right. so
they're like, perfect. That whatever requires the least of me.
Yeah. So,
and especially if you're donating $25 million to my campaign, that's fantastic.
There was a period, and it's been interesting to see the pendulum swing somewhat. So, Silicon Valley could do no wrong for a long time where DC is concerned. There's like, oh, you're like the innovators, you're the super value creators, and you're rich as fuck, and you donate to my campaign. So let's just like leave you the heck alone and just sing your praises every chance we get. And then that pendulum has swung because of Facebook screwing some things up and some other problems. So now everyone's starting to turn towards them and be like, wait a minute, is this really been like cool that Amazon is, so one of the things that I think Amazon did wrong, there, a bunch of things, but like there's diapers.com where they just lost money on diapers for a while, just like forced diapers.com to sell to them. Like Amazon did that sort of thing.
Just because I know about that story, correct me if I'm wrong.
What's the story? I didn't
So
hear.
they basically, like diapers.com was a popular website. They're selling lots of diapers. Amazon lowered their price below that to the point where they were losing money just to put them out of business. And then they raised their prices back up when they go under.
That's not cool.
I think that's so they go out of business. It was like they come to diapers.com and be like, hey guys, you guys are awesome. How about we buy you? And then diapers.com is like, no. And then Amazon's like, oh, we'll see about this. And then they lowered prices to a point where diapers.com was like hemorrhaging money. And then they were like, okay, I guess we will sell to you now. And then Amazon's like, that's what I thought. And then as soon as they buy them, then the prices go back up.
Is that illegal?
That is illegal, yes.
Or
it's illegal in the sense that it's anti-competitive behavior. It's against antitrust law. So that sort of thing has been coming out now. It's something similar with, and this was like to me the biggest nonsense was when Mark Zuckerberg was asked like, hey, the founders of Instagram were worried that if they didn't sell to you, that you were going to try and put them out of business and now compete with them. Go into destroy mode, I think was the term they used. Destroy mode. And then Mark was like, no, I never would have done that. And then we all know it's like if Instagram hadn't sold to Facebook, there would have been a freaking like Instagram clone out like that. And so that this is officially, it violates antitrust law to do certain anti-competitive things like that. But the reality is, like, of course, that, if you're in that industry, like, you're going to do everything you can to try and crush anyone who could potentially end up taking your business.
I think you have to assume there's a lot of that going on we don't know of. Any company that gets to be that big, you're looking at the Microsofts, you're looking at the Amazons, you're looking at the Facebooks. You can't, correct me if I'm wrong. Can you get to be that big of a company without antitrust violations?
Without some anti-competitive behavior?
Yeah.
It'd be difficult. And the thing that most people don't realize now, and this is one reason why I think universe-based income is so vital among others, is that some of these companies have essentially just like left orbit in terms of business physics. Like you think, okay, like I'm a company, I need to be efficient and treat my workers well and like sell things at a profit. There are some companies that at this point are just like like I'm worth $1 trillion. I don't even need to make money. Nothing matters. Like, what's that? You're like a cool startup. Like I can buy you for $400 million and everyone's rich and I don't even care. Like they're just so unfathomably big that now like nothing applies. I think Tim O'Reilly called it like super money. It's like at some point you just get super money and then like nothing matters. And then we still try and pretend. And what was funny is when they got brought into Congress, like they pretend too. It's like, oh, we started in the scrappy company. They're like, it's like freaking, at this point, they're almost like countries unto themselves. They're just so staggeringly, enormously wealthy. And they have now at this point, their stock market valuations are propped up in so many ways that they can almost do no wrong. In that environment, they're just going to keep sucking up more and more value. Like the thing I kept saying to folks on the trail was like, look, Amazon's worth $1 trillion, paid zero in taxes, soaking up $20 billion a year in commerce, closing 30% of your stores and malls. And that was pre-crisis. It's like, this thing's like a black hole. So it's just going to just suck more and more value in. And we're not going to see anything coming out. And you think it's like, oh, it's because they're like out competing. At some point, they just left orbit. And the funny thing about Amazon is like there have been periods in its past where it didn't even make money. But at this point, you look at it and being like there was a Walmart executive who complained to me. He said, how can you compete against a company that doesn't even need to make money? and this was Walmart, which is sort of ironic because Walmart obviously like crushed every like mom and pop retailer in its past.
Now he's complaining about Amazon. That's beautiful.
Yeah, like I joked with the Walmart folks. It's like they were like the tanks that came to American communities around the country and just like ran over every mom and pop. And then they were like, we did it. We conquered America. And then Amazon's like a fucking spaceship like hovering over them. It's like, we don't need to obey the laws of gravity anymore. Then like Walmart's looking up being like, what do we do? And then you have our government over here and like they're just like, the government doesn't understand what is going on and just looking up being like, like Amazon's a company like any other. That's like they have their own. I mean, if you look at what's going on with Amazon, like Jeff Bezos is so rich, he bought the Washington Post with essentially like pocket change from his couch. Like the Washington Post is a very, very influential publication that happens to be like the main news source in our nation's capital. Like, do you think that? He literally and he has been relatively hands off. Like he doesn't go in and be like, write about this, write about that. But it's telling. It's that like Amazon up here, Jeff Bezos up here, and then like our nation's major media like news source for our legislators was like down here, and he was like, yeah, like sure. He just like took a couple $100 million out of the couch and just he's worth at this point hundreds of billions. Anyway, sorry. That was
fascinating,
really
and I think it really
scary too.
It's terrifying. I think that analogy of it's like Walmart came in with the tanks but they weren't thinking big enough, and Amazon came in with the UFO spaceship and just zapped them.
I keep thinking about the video games you play when you're like. You keep finishing and you replay it again with all the upgrades.
Oh yeah, just way stronger every time.
Ridiculously strong.
Want to wrap this story because to me it was interesting. So one of the founders of diapers.com was a guy named Mark Lohr. So then Amazon crushes diapers.com, absorbs them. Mark Lohr becomes rich, but he's mad at Amazon. So he comes back for revenge years later and starts jet.com. I think he raised like $500 million, $1 billion, being like, we are going to outcompete Amazon and e-commerce. Like he's like, I have found the way. And so then and so he got all of these investors to pile into jet.com. And then jet.com's like spending. Do you remember jet.com?
No. I never heard of it.
So jet.com, they had, I think their color was purple. They had like jet and some smiley. Anyway, so jet.com spends hundreds of millions trying to fight it out with Amazon in e-commerce. And then Walmart buys jet.com as a way to try and make themselves competitive against Amazon in e-commerce. So that's like how it all fit together. It's like Mark Lohr came back for revenge and then ended up like getting absorbed by Walmart in a relatively futile attempt to try and bring down the spaceship.
That's
Anyway.
so weird. Why? Oh, that's so funny. I guess it never happened. I mean, Walmart failed to make it competitive, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't think it's worked out.
No.
I mean, like, I'm sure. I don't.
Let's go to jet.com.
I mean, Walmart had to do something.
Hold on, let's see if jet.com is still.
I mean, I hope
no,
so.
It literally redirected to walmart.com.
Yeah.
I think they paid $1 billion for jet.com.
Wow.
I'm like, if you can look up that.
Were they just thinking like, look, we can't deal with
acquisition.
another one of these? I just want.
It was literally to try and bring on Mark Lohr to be like the Amazon killer, because if there was like any human that represented
It was
like
the diapers guy.
Yeah, like the David to Amazon Goliath. It was this guy, Mark Lohr, and he had a chip on his shoulder because he was like, "I'm back, I'm back. You destroyed my diapers.com spaceship, and now I'm back with like jet.com." Wow. And anyway, I found that story really interesting, in large part because Mark was so compelling that he raised hundreds of millions of dollars for an e-commerce company to try and rival Amazon. I thought that was like the most amazing act of salesmanship I had ever heard. I was like, wow, this guy must like be the most convincing dude in the world.
Well, they all made money, it sounds like, by the end of it, except Walmart.
I think that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
But I think it really underlies this issue of how can we possibly govern in the face of such super money if our regulators and our elected officials don't even understand what they're looking at. Like, their understanding of what's going on at a company like Amazon is so terrestrial. If they're in outer space, these guys are, on the ground.
Every week I go on Amazon now, I find more and more creepy stuff. Like, at first they just had a few like Amazon basic items. Now like every product that you look up, they already have an Amazon brand that makes it.
It's amazing.
I don't know. It creeps me out every time.
Yeah, it's super weird. They have their own brand for literally
everything.
Things as minute as like a pen, a lighter, to as big as like
any clothing thing you would look up,
like shopping products, everything. They have it.
They're a machine. So what they do is they have this marketplace, and then they have this giant data dashboard. They figure out as soon as like something's selling at a certain level, they're like,
they go and make it.
They go and make it. And so you have these horror stories of this company being like, I sold on Amazon and I was happy until one day, like, their competitor came and I couldn't get into the search listings, and now I am dead. And like they're this giant money machine that just comes in, and like it's a combination of like endless resources and endless access to us and our needs, and then endless data. There is no real competition. There's something that has changed about capitalism, and the problem is that we pretend it's still like the 70s and 80s, like that there is like a genuine market between firms when you have these companies that have just reached unprecedented scale, size, resources, and it's being facilitated by this new version of the markets where there are certain companies that just everyone's going to pile into because they're absorbing more and more of the economy. It's like you look up and just, you ask anyone, it's like, like Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google would be the big ones where you just look up and being like, hey, if you close your eyes and open them 10 years from now, like, do you think those companies will still be kicking ass and dominating? Like, the answer is yes, unless the government were to change something for one of those companies. And you're starting to see glimmers of that possibility because people are starting to recognize some of the extremes. I may be part of this conversation moving forward too.
Jeff Bezos just found his worst enemy.
It's
Jeff
not
Bezos.
Mark Lohr, Jeff.
You've been looking in the wrong place.
You've been looking the wrong way.
Okay, in closing, I want to ask you one final question. You have endorsed Joe Biden. Tell me, why do you think Joe Biden will make a better president than Donald Trump?
Joe Biden would make a better president than Donald Trump on many, many levels. But the things I love about Joe, number one, he's actually a good dude who cares about people and like wants to do right by people. Number two is he's really not very ideological. He's more of like a pragmatist, where he's like, what are we going to do? And as part of his pragmatism, he's a consensus seeker. He tries to figure out what the folks around him think is the right approach. And he's not going to be someone to be like, no, screw you. Like, I'm sure of like the way to go and it's not what you're saying. Like, he'll actually be like, well, if people think that this is the way to go, like I'm into it. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is something I said at the convention, which is that Joe has this quality where anything he says becomes the new reasonable. Like he came out with a $2 trillion green energy proposal that could have been straight out of the Bernie or AOC like playbook. And if one of them had said it, people would have been like, oh, like, you know, aggressive, pie in the sky. But then Joe says it and everyone's like, yeah, that's cool. that you funny. Can that if Joe gets on board with something or champions it, then all of a sudden it becomes the new mainstream. Mm-hmm. And so you have to ask yourself, it's like, okay, maybe I disagree with Joe on some stuff, but it's like, what's my preferred path? Trying to convince Joe that this is a good idea, or trying to convince Donald Trump that he should, you know, like adopt a completely different approach to governance. And yeah, I mean, that to me is a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Yang, future Secretary of Technology and Innovation. Love the sound of that.
Potentially, and if that happened, I certainly have you two and a lot of other people to thank. But the big thing right now is just for us to help each other, try and get through this mess, and you know, stay strong and healthy ourselves. Because you can't help anyone if you can't, you know, like help yourself. But then if you do have the capacity to help others, please do lend someone a hand, because like someone in your life needs a hand.
Can we count on an interview from Washington, D.C. a year from now?
Yeah, I mean, heck, definitely. Like, if I'm the Secretary of Technology and Innovation, then we'll have so much to talk about. And then,
I agree. That's gonna be awesome.
I'll even end up being like one of these types of being like, hey, send me ideas, citizens, because I am now your. You know.
And Andrew, if there are UFOs, will you tell us? Will you have access?
If I find out there are UFOs, I will tell people, because we all know they're there already.
Okay, Andrew, let me ask you this. If someone's like, okay, Andrew, we're gonna tell you the UFOs and the aliens and all this crazy shit exists, but you can't tell anyone. Do you tell us?
Depends on who it is, really. I mean, you know, if it's someone I can be like, sorry, man, like I just had to tell people that it'd be.
People always say that, but there's no way you would actually be able to tell us. Don't you see the problem?
I do see the problem. If they bring me into the circle of UFO trust, then it's hard to run outside of the circle and tell Ethan and Gila.
Just before you die, just get the truth out there.
Twice.
Yeah, blink twice on your deathbed.
That done deal, deathbed, UFO confession,
yes.
Andrew Yang.
There we go. All right. Andrew, it's been a pleasure as always. I wish you lots of luck and success. I'm enjoying following everything you're doing. Fantastic. And I'm along with the Yang Gang all the way. So good luck.
Thank you both so much.
And we're right there with you.
Thank you both for everything you do. And, you know, I hope the little guy is doing great.
Yeah, he is. He's doing awesome.
He is.
Yeah, he is. Thank you. And your kids too. I mean, now you're at home. You're spending time with the family. That's fantastic. I know it was hard on you during the campaign.
Yeah, you can understand why, as parents, it was the hardest thing about running. But I'm happy to say, you know, they remembered who Daddy was.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And now I'm underfoot all the time when I'm not, you know, zooming.
All right, Andrew, take care.
All right.
Thanks, guys, so much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, talk
See you
soon.
soon.
Yep,
Hopefully.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.